Hello, this is Meredith and welcome to Marvelous French, online French lessons for those who are learning French or who would like to learn French. So in this video, we'll be kicking off our grammar series with part 1 of an intro to grammar. Here we will be covering basic grammar terms and concepts that are going to come up in our later grammar videos. So this is just going to be an overview. We're going to talk about nouns, articles, and adjectives and give French examples, but we'll be covering all of these concepts in more depth in individual videos. So let's start with nouns. Nouns describe people, animals, places, or things, and here we have several examples. So the first 3 examples are what we call proper nouns. These designate particular people, places, or things, and as we can see, they tend to be capitalized. So we have Marc, which is the proper name for a boy or a man, Paris, which is the proper name of a place, Paris, and Renault, which is the name of a French car company. Examples of people: homme, man, médecin, doctor, and tante, aunt, A-U-N-T. Animals: tigre, which is the tiger, loup, wolf, oiseau, bird. Places: parc, park, continent, continent, restaurant, restaurant. And finally, examples of things: liberté, freedom, télévision, television, and finally, oignon, onion. So a noun can be considered a subject or an object. These are terms that describe the role that a noun plays in a sentence. So a subject is a noun that performs an action. It tends to be the focus of the sentence and oftentimes will be followed by a verb. So we have an example here. Le chien mange la viande. The dog is eating the meat. So le chien, the dog, in all caps, is the subject here. It's the dog who's performing the action. It's the dog who's eating the meat. Who's eating the meat? The dog's eating the meat. So an object is a noun that receives the action. It's the recipient of the action. It's the word that's being acted upon. So we have an example here. Le garçon voit le professeur. The boy sees the teacher or the professor. So le professeur, teacher, in all caps, is the object. Okay? The professor is a recipient of the action. It's the professor who's being seen by the boy. Now if we look back at the first example sentence, le chien mange la viande, we said that le chien was the subject. There's also an object in the sentence, la viande. So la viande, the meat, is the recipient of the action. It's the meat that's being eaten. Now in the second example sentence, le garçon voit le professeur, we said that le professeur was the object. Le garçon was the subject. The boy is performing the action. It's the boy who sees the professor. Articles are small words linked to nouns. For example, a, the, some, any. Now all nouns in French are considered either masculine or feminine, and they can also be singular, one, or plural, more than one. So articles agree with nouns. If an article is used with a masculine noun, it needs to be made masculine itself. A feminine noun is going to require a feminine article, etc. So we have definite articles, indefinite articles, and partitive articles. A definite article is the equivalent of the. It refers to a noun that's already been referenced. It's specific. So we have 4 options for definite articles: le, la, l'apostrophe, and les. Le is the masculine singular form. La is feminine singular. L'apostrophe is singular. It can be either masculine or feminine, and it's used with nouns that start with a vowel for pronunciation reasons. Les is plural. So we have a few examples here. Le garçon is the boy. Garçon is masculine, so we're using the masculine form of the definite article, le. In the second example, l'ami. Ami, ending with an E, is feminine. It refers to a female friend. So traditionally that would call for the article la, but because ami starts with a vowel, we're going to use L apostrophe, and that's pronounced l'ami. Now indefinite articles are the equivalent of a or an, and again we have our masculine and feminine. Un is the masculine form, une is the feminine form, and the plural form is des, which translates as some or any. So we have two examples. Un café. Café can mean coffee, or it can mean a cafe, the place you would go to drink coffee. So the word café is masculine, so it calls for the masculine form of the article here. Un café is a cup of coffee or a cafe. We have une rue, a street. So the word rue happens to be feminine, so we're going to have to use the feminine article une. Now partitive articles translate as some or any. It's an undefined amount, a non-countable amount of something. So we have our masculine, du, feminine, de la. We have de l'apostrophe, which again is going to be used with a masculine or feminine noun, singular, that starts with a vowel for sound reasons. And our plural, des. So we have an example here, du pain, meaning some bread. Pain is masculine, so we're using the masculine form of some, du. Adjectives are words that are used to describe nouns. Now just as with articles, adjectives need to agree with the nouns that they modify. So if a noun is feminine, then the feminine form of the adjective is going to need to be used, etc. So we have descriptive, possessive, and demonstrative adjectives. Now descriptive adjectives are just your general adjectives. They can be used to describe things such as color, general appearance, physical traits, personality traits. So here we have some examples. Rouge, which means red. Grand, which means big or tall. And gentil, which means nice. Now we also have possessive adjectives, which would be the equivalent of my, your, y-o-u-r, their, t-h-e-i-r, etc. Now once again, possessive adjectives need to agree with the nouns that they modify. So we have feminine forms, we have masculine, singular, and plural. I've just listed a few examples here. We have mon, which means my, and it is the masculine singular form used with masculine singular nouns. We have leur, which means their, T-H-E-I-R. This can be either masculine or feminine, and it's singular. And we have nos, which means our, O-U-R, and this is used with plural nouns. We also have what's called demonstrative adjectives. This is the equivalent of this, that, these, those. And again, because it's an adjective, it needs to be used with a noun. So this man, that car, these people. And once again, we have our masculine, our feminine, our plural forms. So ce is used with masculine singular nouns. Cette is also used with masculine singular nouns, but nouns that start with a vowel for sound reasons. We also have cette, C-E-T-T-E, which sounds the same, and this is the feminine form used with feminine nouns. And finally, si, which is used with plural nouns. So now that we've discussed nouns, articles, and adjectives, let's look at a few examples. Now these are not full sentences. These are just phrases that focus on the parts of speech that we've discussed so far. So we have une pomme rouge, a red apple. So pomme, apple, is the noun, and it's feminine. So our article and our adjective are going to need to be feminine as well. So we have une, which is the indefinite article, a, and it's the feminine form. And rouge, red, which is the adjective used to describe the apple. And again, this is the feminine form. Our next example, le beau garçon Marc, la belle fille Marie. So in the first half there, garçon, boy, is the noun and it's masculine. So again, the article and the adjective are going to need to be masculine as well. We have le, which is the definite article, the, and it's masculine. And we have beau, which is the adjective used to describe boy. And again, we're making it masculine. Finally there we have Marc, which is the name of the boy. It's the proper noun, the proper name, capitalized. And then we have la belle fille, Marie. So everything in this portion is feminine. Fille, girl, is the noun. It's feminine. And so again, the article and the adjective will need to be feminine as well. We have la, which is the definite article, the feminine form. We have belle, which is the adjective used to describe the girl. And again, that's the feminine form. And finally, at the end, we have Marie, which is the proper noun. It's the name of the girl, again, capitalized. Our final example, des endroits anciens, means some ancient places. So endroit, places, is plural. We see the S at the end, okay, and that's the noun. So again, the article and the adjective are going to need to be made plural as well. Des is our partitive article, meaning some, an unspecified amount, and again it's plural. And then we have our adjective, ancien, which is also made to be plural to agree with the noun that it modifies, endroit. Now you may notice, that the placement of the adjectives varies a little bit in these various phrases. So in the first example, une pomme rouge, rouge, red, the adjective, comes after the noun that it modifies. And most adjectives in French do come after the noun. Now, there are a small subset of adjectives that come before the noun, and this just needs to be memorized. So the word for handsome or beautiful, beau, belle, is an example. So we see that beau, handsome, comes before the noun, garçon, and belle, beautiful, comes before the noun, fille. Now, in the third example, the adjective ancien is actually a third category of adjective, and again this will just need to be memorized, but there are some adjectives that can come before or after a noun, and the meaning changes accordingly. So when ancien comes after a noun, it means ancient, old, and when ancien comes before a noun, it means former. For example, the former president, l'ancien président. So that brings us to the end of part 1 of our introduction to grammar. Hopefully you found this video useful. If so, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. So again, this is Meredith with Marvelous French, and à la prochaine! See you next time!